year, ladies and gentlemen, has by far been the most exciting year for gold, which is holding its almost all-time high price of around $2,000 an ounce, in which you guys know I advocate that I'm just not the biggest fan of the physical metals themselves. You can coddle it, you gotta store it, there's security issues, a lot of commissions on trading it around, in which I would rather own a cash flowing asset like the mines that have access to millions of ounces and will produce an income for years to come, in which I'm sure even Warren Buffett would agree as he's been dabbling into some of his own gold purchases. But I've had the luxury this year of being able to interview some of the CEOs of the largest gold companies and even reviewing gold stocks that pay dividends, in which I'm going to leave a playlist in the description below if you want to learn a little bit more. But today I want to focus on a riskier aspect of the gold markets, which is the exploration side, in which one's come up on my radar called Winston Gold Corp, a penny stock trading for 16 cents a share and is up 106% here, folks. Now, the reason this one has become so interesting is there's a guy by the name of Joseph Caraba, if I'm saying his name correctly, one of the heads of acquisition for Newmont Corporation, which is the largest mining company in the world. And he left his $400,000 a year job at this company and even took 7 figures of his own money and invested and became the CEO of Winston Gold Corp. And I want to know why people are making such heavy bets on this company, and which we're going to review what the heck is just going on here. So in the clarity of my transparency, I'd appreciate it if you'd smash that like button, but nonetheless, let's just so we're going to do an overview of the company, and then we're going to dive down into the balance sheet just to see what the heck is going on. This is obviously a penny stock. It trades for a $46 million market cap, which means higher risk, but usually the potential of much higher reward for those people that can stomach the volatility. And just going over the overview, it says we got high grade, low cost, near-term gold production in mining-friendly Montana. Now, there's one thing I've noticed about this company is they do not have any foreign exposure to mines, because usually the biggest fear around gold stocks comes with the political rhetoric and risk if, say, you're buying in Colombia or any of those other foreign nations from North America, of course. And a little bit about the company, which we'll find out more in a second. It just says Winston Gold Corp is a junior mining company focused on generating cash flow, that's what I like to hear, by advancing high-grade, low-cost mining opportunities in production here, folks. And if we scroll down, we can see the primary project, and this is one that has been around for a while, apparently, in which they bought the rights to, and we'll probably further extrapolate, but historic production to 100,000 ounces of gold at an average grade of 0.67 ounces per ton, or 22.8 grams per ton, easily accessible by road, power lines, cross properties. So, I mean, you could pretty much drive to this thing if you do live in North America, purely North American mines. But let's just take a quick peek at more about the company before we get into some of the finer details. Gold has regained its luster in the market, and we believe that the next precious metal super cycle is just commencing. The timing could not be better to position ourselves as efficient and cost-effective gold miner. We put together a world-class teams who have done it several times before, and we plan to replicate that success. And I mean, nothing could have timed out better. A lot of these gold companies that positioned themselves before we went into this pandemic, where the Fed started printing off all this money, I mean, a lot of them pretty much won the lottery, and I'm pretty sure Winston Gold Corp is going down the same path, presuming obviously things are going to keep getting exacerbated by the pandemic, and gold prices are probably going to continue to move higher here, folks. And which, if we scroll down, which we can see added to the executive team is Joseph Caraba, guys. The guy that gave up a $400,000 year job and puts his money where his mouth is. So, I mean, we've definitely got an expert team here, which you guys can come in. I'll leave the links to this in the description below if you want to read further on these guys' expertise. But kind of getting into some of the finer details that I have highlighted on the geology aspect of it, because the only thing that really matters is what is the capability of these mines being profitable. Now, the most fascinating thing about this mine here, folks, so just reading through this, it says the recent drilling by Winston Gold in 2014, Portfield in 2015 confirmed gold mineralization cut in earlier drill holes and discovered at least 8 previous unknown mineralized veins, and recent drilling shows that the mineralized zones are both narrow and higher grade than suggested by the composite samples. Now, why is this interesting and so exciting? Because where the current gold mine sits, these things have been around for almost generations at this point, in which most of the mines have been cut off. And apparently these guys bought into these mines, showing some tests that there is so much more gold still to be mined, and apparently high grade gold at that. Now, taking a look at the land holding and ownership terms that they currently have to go into production, which from my understanding is going to be toward the end of this year, it says the Winston Gold project includes 5 public unpatented lode mining claims, contingent with 16 patented lode claims covering an area of 205 acres, in which over 5 years these terms are set at about $3,500 monthly and a minimum of $200,000 in expenditures on the property annually. And I imagine that would have to do with the upkeep, building, mining materials, etc., etc. With the claims can be renewed for every 5-year terms for $40,000 or monthly payments of $7,000. The patent claims can be renewed for an additional 10 years, ending in 2034 for $40,000 and a monthly payment of $5,000. The options to purchase all undersurface rights and the 100 acres of land held by the leaser for purchase a price of $2 million, in which so they can actually own this if this thing turns out to be fairly substantial for them. With the patent claims are subjected to a 3% NSR, which is increased to 4% if the price of gold exceeds $2,000 an ounce. So they're basically giving themselves the most protected way possible by just leasing the land to just start proving out what is capable with the current mine they are looking into. Now, in most recent news, they finally got results from drilling they did back in February 9th of 2017, in which they are pleased to announce that the drill results of these high-grade veins that the company wholly owns in Winston Gold property near Helena, Montana. This is in addition to a recently announced drill results from the Adena vein system on the same property, in which apparently the vein is including 4.4 feet of 18.8 grams of gold per ton, which is actually pretty incredible, but we're still trying to figure out exactly how much gold these mines have, in which they list a lot of the mapping they've done and exploring these new veins that hopefully are going to lead to some pretty substantial outcomes. And again, unlike any other exploration mine, these are mines that have already been dug out and have been left to die off, in which Winston said, no, we're going to move in here. We're finding some pretty attractive stuff, in which has attracted some of the biggest players in the gold mining operations sector here, folks, in which you can take a look at these drill results yourself. If this is something that you understand a little bit better than I do, you're definitely going to want to do your homework, but you can see some of the attractive nature behind, I mean, I'm sure you've watched those gold shows where people are going out, digging out these mines, trying to figure out how much they can get. And with this kind of result coming from what they currently have, it's going to be neat to see what they end up at the end of the year with. Is from my understanding, like I said, they're supposed to be going into operation by year end. And again, we're not talking about any political risk. So this is basically just a gamble on the execution team here, folks, in which we're going to see getting into this balance sheet, in which they have a total current asset here, folks, of about $1.73 million, which is increased drastically over last year, thanks to doing some financing rounds to basically get these exploration projects off the ground here, folks. Because taking a look at the total liabilities, they currently sit on about $3.3 million, which adds to the exposed risk of investing in the company, but shows the confidence basically the management and the current CEO has on these explorations. Because if we scroll down and take a look, we can see the exploration and evaluation expenses have gone up drastically, in which they spent $2.87 million in the first 6 months against 2019 when they only spent $240,000. That is a pretty drastic difference. And if we scroll down as well, we can see some of the more crowdfunding that went on through these stocks when they did more dilution, and last year they had about 115 million shares outstanding, in which they have 187 this year, which again isn't the best for shareholders, but the fact that the markets are up so much on the gold cycle, they're definitely going to be taking advantage of this to see how much opportunity they can offer to shareholders out there, folks. Now, I'm going to leave, again, all the links to this stuff in the description below, and I highly suggest you come check this out so you guys can do a deeper dive and figure out if this company is for you. But they're definitely one of the more advancing exploration companies that have none of the political rhetoric and are also mining mines that have proven to have hundreds of thousands of ounces in them, in which these projects are going to be launching off in the second half of this year, which is something to pay attention to, and which I'm going to try and recap on just to see the execution excellence of the management behind this. This is just going to be one of those gold projects where you're going to have a better risk tolerance understanding of what the company is doing, and you're going to be able to get highlighted a little bit more conveniently than any of these companies that have over-the-border mines. So in the clarity of my transparency, I would love to know what you guys think about this gold company in that description below, and maybe we'll have to do an update to see if the execution in this professional management, top-of-the-line management, is going to be able to pull this off. So again, I'd love to know what you think in that comment section below, but stay cool, stay awesome, and I look forward to chatting to you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, very interesting. Tell me a little bit of background on the company.
Okay. We started this project in 2014. It was a private company that we took public in 2016. In 2014, we acquired the mining claims. They're patented mining claims in an area known as the Winston district, near a little town called Winston, Montana, which is about it's a nice location because it's a paved highway almost directly to the mine, and only 22 miles out of the state capital of Helena. We operated another mine in that area, 22 miles to the northeast, called the Drumlemon Gold Mine.